Hi all, thanks for joining on today's session. We'll get started in just a moment. For the attendees, if you don't mind, just popping in the chat if you can hear me properly. Thank you. We'll give it just another minute while a few people are still joining, and then we'll get started. All right, awesome. Well, thank you all for joining today's session. Really excited to have you all getting closer to the festive season as well, as you can probably tell by the shirt. But today we'll be running you through a bit around mixed reality, what it is. We've been getting more and more questions from partners about how can we take this to market? How can we start to leverage it? We've got an interest in it. We know that there are restrictions and authorizations that need to be done in order to be able to take this to market. Really excited today for us, Tetsu and Nick and myself as well, to be able to run you through a number of different, information and background on this type of one technology, but also how you as a partner can now start to get access to this technology. So with that, I guess I'll pass it over to Nick to begin just a bit around how to build a mixed reality practice and a bit around the background of it, and then we'll continue from there. Over to you, Nick.
Excellent, thank you, Luke. So let me go ahead and advance forward. Just really quick, kind of high level, each one of us will be introduced individually as we kick things off, but here's our list of speakers for the day. So I'm going to kind of dive in with the initial sections. We'll talk a little bit about who is Crane Morley, what do we do, what experience we've had in the mixed reality space in particular, and we're going to dive a little bit into some specific use cases, how some of our existing clients have been utilizing mixed reality and some of the experience and the results that they've seen from that. And after that, I'm gonna pass things over to Tetsu to kind of as well as Luke to finish the rest of the agenda. Okay, so talking a little bit about Crane Morley. First off, to introduce myself in a bit more detail, my name is Nickberger. I am a senior instructional designer and mixed reality lead with Crane Morley. So my focus within our organization is really all things mixed reality, ranging from working with clients to develop kind of full service mixed reality solutions and custom approaches for their specific business needs, all the way to leading really in-depth training sessions. I actually teach a series of workshops to help organizations that are looking to kind of build out a really strong mixed reality practice of their own, to kind of put the right framework in place for them to be able to accomplish that and really avoid a lot of the common pitfalls and scenarios that might kind of start your mixed reality practice off on the wrong foot. So really quickly, just a little bit about Crane Morley. Crane Morley is a training organization. We've actually got almost 30 years experience now developing learning and performance solutions. And when we do that, our main focus is really always to harness the latest technology to ensure that that we're kind of putting the best training content possible forward. So a while back that meant we were doing a lot in terms of creating training videos. At some point that shifted to e-learning, and then most recently we've really started beginning that shift towards mixed reality. So I want to talk, about mixed reality in some detail throughout this, but I think high level as kind of an introduction, one of the key things where mixed reality is set apart from various other different training opportunities is essentially this ability to get real skills transfer. by putting the kind of instructions on the user's head, allowing them to be hands-free so they could have a tool in each hand. They can be working with equipment, they can be working on complex processes, while not having to, kind of leave what they're doing and look up key information. They're really supported all the way through that process. So we'll talk about that in some more detail. Just a really quick kind of snapshot of some of the clients that Crane Morley has worked with in the mixed reality space in particular. So, one thing that I like to point out is, exciting thing that this is a variety of organizations across a variety of industries. And, I think we've been seeing certain industries really take off with mixed reality so far. And we've also been seeing, other industries that are kind of, starting to pick up more. And I think the exciting thing when it comes to, to mixed reality in general is that what we're going to talk about today, what we're going to show you today, this isn't, futuristic concepts that we're talking about. This is technology that's here today that organizations are using to really drive a lot of value, in particular within the training part of the business. So really quick snapshot in terms of just how does Crane Morley typically, kind of interact on a mixed reality project. What we like to do is we like to come in early. We like to kind of take a look at things from a more holistic approach and say, what is overall the business need or the problem that we're addressing with a mixed reality solution. And then from there, that gives us the ability to kind of develop an overall plan for how we can utilize the technology to, pilot a solution that's going to really drive that ROI. We work to kind of come up with, the overall blueprint. And by blueprint, I mean, how does mixed reality fit into your overall training goals? And I think that's a really important thing to keep in mind, because our goal here is not to replace all of the training that exists today with mixed reality training, but really to determine where does this technology really benefit the end user and how can we plug it in there to get the most out of what we're putting into it. So from there, I mentioned, kind of briefly before that Crane Morley kind of does a couple of different approaches. So we have the ability to kind of create a full service mixed reality practice. So we can develop content, work with IT departments to kind of put the right things in place, and really kind of go from A to Z when it comes to, that type of approach. The other way we do things typically is more of a training approach. So organizations, as a good example, we've worked with Intel locations all across the globe. And at Intel in particular, their processes, their procedures that they were looking to build out these guides, modules around are very closely protected. They're very guarded. They don't want to send any of that out to kind of external partners to develop the training. So we got their all their teams globally up to speed on developing their own content, and the Intel team has since developed upwards of 2,000 training guides. And kind of the last phase in this process is understanding how can we, really put these initial pilots, initial proof of concept projects into place so they're scalable, so that return that we're initially seeing is something that we're able to expand and drive across multiple different aspects of the business. So with that out of the way, I want to talk a little bit more detail about mixed reality specifically. So starting off, kind of what is mixed reality? I think there's a lot of different terms that get thrown around there. When it comes to kind of the overall extended reality umbrella. So I want to spend just a quick minute here defining mixed reality and in particular explain how is mixed reality different than virtual reality. I think probably most of us are familiar with virtual reality in some way, whether it's gaming or or another kind of recreational use of it. I've also worked with a handful of organizations that are using virtual reality in a training type of context. But really, the key element when it comes to mixed reality and the way we define it is that mixed reality is kind of this blending of the physical and virtual worlds. So basically, you're able to enhance and overlay everything you're doing with virtual objects, holograms, with videos, with images, with all of these different elements. But most importantly, the user remains grounded in the real world. They can see everything that's going on around them. They can have tools in their hands. They can be working with complex equipment. They can be working with processes, all while getting the benefits of these virtual overlays. So I think this chart does a really nice job where that mixed reality kind of falls right there in the middle between sort of the physical world and the digital world. So just briefly to kind of introduce the two primary applications that we're talking about here. So Microsoft Dynamics 365 Guides and Microsoft Dynamics 365 Remote Assist. So quick high-level introduction, and then I want to get into talking about some specific use cases. So Microsoft Dynamics 365 Remote Assist is really the remote collaboration tool for the HoloLens. I can put a HoloLens on my head, I can launch the Remote Assist tool, and I can use that to join a meeting in Teams, or I can use that to, to make a direct call. So let's say I'm a field technician, I'm out doing maintenance or inspecting a piece of equipment or a site, and I run into a problem that I can't solve myself. This gives me the ability to put that HoloLens on my head, reach out to my supervisor or another relevant subject matter expert, and they can kind of walk me through that process. And there's a ton of different benefits to this. I think in general, we've really seen the remote assist technology take off since the pandemic began. Our lack of ability to travel, as well as our lack of ability just to be face-to-face in normal scenarios, has really brought remote assist to the forefront in a lot of ways. It gives us this ability to solve problems in real time, regardless of where we're located. And in these collaboration efforts, we can do a variety of things. We can, actually add live 3D annotations into a user's space. We can drop arrows to point specific things out or draw in the space. We can share files and documentation. Maybe there's a schematic that my user needs to get through the process. Maybe it's just a quick image. Really quick and easy for me to share and collaborate with that user, regardless of where I am or where they are in the world. And then Dynamics 365 Guides is going to really be the mixed reality training tool for the HoloLens. When I mentioned before that that with mixed reality, this is from a training perspective, really one of the first times that we're able to get to the point of actual skills transfer for our trainees. This is the tool that I'm talking about. With Guides, we can build these step-by-step instruction sets that walk users through processes and augment that or enhance that through images, through videos, as well as, probably most importantly, through 3D holograms that are projected out into the user's actual space. These are great for step-by-step instructions. If you're assembling something, if you're disassembling something, or doing standard routine maintenance, ton of great uses of the Guides application. But it can also be used more high level, things like systems overviews, anything that I think has sort of a spatial element to it, you're going to get a lot of benefit from using the Guides platform. And this tool, as I mentioned before, really provides kind of a hands-free head-up approach. So I can have a tool in each of my hands. I can be working, I'm getting the benefit of these virtual overlays, but again, I'm not being sort of removed from my actual environment. So I'm aware of what's going on around me. I'm aware of any potential safety hazards in my area. I can really be aware of all of those physical, components to what I'm doing. So when it comes to Dynamics 365 Guides, overall, this process of creating a guide is designed to be really easy. It's essentially is a low-code or no-code solution where users can kind of create these instruction sets, drag and drop specific media, whether it's images, whether it's videos, or again, most importantly, probably those 3D holograms, and they can basically drag and drop. So the process of actually creating a guide is really simple and straightforward overall. There's two different main components to it. We have the Guides desktop application, as well as the HoloLens application for the guide. So within the desktop application, that's where I'm going to kind of type out my overall instruction set. I'm going to build out the framework for the instructions that I'm creating. I'm going to import and insert my media. So on a given step of the process, I may want to have a specific image, and on the next step, I may want to augment that with some video. I can just drag and drop those images and videos and 3D holograms, and then once I'm ready, I'm going to put on the HoloLens headset, I'm going to scan most likely a QR code, and that's going to anchor my my kind of 3D space. And then I'm just going to it's going to be as simple as me kind of pinching these holograms in space and repositioning them and getting everything adjusted correctly. You know, again, really designed to be an easy development process. No coding skills are required to be able to do it. You know, it's as simple as Microsoft likes to say, if you can build a PowerPoint, you can build a guide. You know, it can be that simple. So, you know, I guess the question that some of you may be coming up with as I explain the simplicity is kind of where does an organization like Crane Morley fall into this? And I think for us, you know, I think my phrase that I like to counter the classic Microsoft phrase is, you know, I've seen a lot of PowerPoints and I've seen a lot of really poorly done PowerPoints in my career. So just the fact that I can build a PowerPoint or I can build a guide doesn't mean that I'm going to be able to immediately go in and build out an effective guide. And I think building out an effective guide really starts with asking the right questions. And when it comes to asking the right questions, I think the biggest benefit is really understanding what are the key benefits of mixed reality as a technology. So, you know, I've kind of touched on a few of those already. I can be, you know, hands-free and head up. I can have, you know, tools in my hands. I can be working on equipment. I'm aware of my surroundings. And it's getting me that real kind of skills-based training. On top of that, it gives me the ability to put in really detailed information. So things like, you know, schematics, things like wiring diagrams. I have an automotive client that's been using this to kind of outline a specific sort of torque sequence for bolts. So really complex pieces of information that we can make available right in front of the worker's field of view, so they don't have to stop what they're doing to go look up any of this and kind of come back around. Now, another benefit within the guides platform is it is really an ideal tool whether you're in more of a pure training environment or looking to build out solutions for on-the-job kind of efficiency. And what I mean by that is in a training environment, if I've got my user and I'm getting them, or my new hire, and I'm getting them completely up to speed before sending them out into the field, this allows me to give them a tool where they can just go at their own pace through this new information and actually get the real practice as they're getting the knowledge piece. Some of the areas that we've seen really phenomenal results with guides is improved time to competency and error reduction. So when I mention improved time to competency, what I'm primarily talking about is upskilling employees. So getting, whether it's getting new employees, you know, up to speed on what they need to do, or bringing in, you know, new skills for an existing employee set. I think that the Dynamics 365 Guides platform has shown us some really, really phenomenal results. And I'll talk a little bit more about those here as I get to my use cases. Really last quick thing on the guide side of things. One of the really exciting things with guides is that as you build these solutions out, as you deploy them, and as your trainees start actually going through these trainings, it gives you the ability to kind of take a look at these data sets that give us information about how is this tool being used. We can look at it to drill down on things like how many guides are being completed in a day, which users are completing the most guides. Is the number of overall guides that are being done increasing or decreasing or staying the same? So lots of different ways that we can look at that data to not only improve our actual training content, but to figure out where are those trends, where can we kind of capitalize on additional content. All right, so really quick, I want to just kind of run through a few different use cases. So these are all clients that the Crane Morley team has worked with directly. I'm gonna go fairly quickly through some of these. So please feel free to ask any questions that you might have in the chat, and I'd be happy to respond to those. First one that I have is a video. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this video for you guys.
%30 of the frontline workforce will retire in the next 2 years. Training's become this huge challenge. Along comes Microsoft HoloLens. I'm head up, hands free. While I'm being guided step by step how to do something, I'm actually acquiring skills. That's huge. That has never been possible before. Crane Morley has been developing learning and performance solutions for about 27 years. We've worked with Mercedes-Benz and American Honda. We've worked with Denso to kind of invent the new way of doing something better.
Guides has really sped up the development process. Authoring is very simple. You don't need to be a programmer to do it. Now partners like us can take that time and we can focus more on the learning objectives of our client.
Denso is one of the world's largest supplier of automotive parts. Denso is very practical. We're going to look at technology and apply how it's best used to make us more efficient.
Denso, they have a component that needs to be rebuilt by their certified partners, separated all around the world. Before HoloLens, the only solution was to fly an instructor and train 5 or 6 people.
Crane Morley developed the content and helped us put together a mixed reality strategy. Guides lets us create procedures on how to disassemble a pump, the proper techniques to put it back together, and then how the different components interact within the pump. I can have my instructor in the morning do a training class in New York, and then in the afternoon provide a training class in Argentina. And that enormous amount of cost is mitigated by using this technology.
When you're stuck in a position where there's nobody to show you how to do something, it can be so stressful. But with this HoloLens, just mind-blowing. Put on something on your head, and there it is, a guidebook in front of your face.
With guides, there's a back end that tracks time and motion. Everybody wants to know, how well am I doing? How well is this factory doing? How can we do better? And you can guess, or you can use data.
Any information that I can utilize to better understand my customer, areas that they have deficiencies or areas that are struggling, that information is critical for me to either create new service products or to adjust my training classes to meet those needs.
Think about 10 years ago, trying to put together a training course without any media. And then think about today. So now you've got the HoloLens and you've got guide, and you begin to take training to the next level. And you begin to move it into the flow of work. And once you do that, you can't go back.
Oops. All right, perfect. So yeah, that's a kind of high-level video that the Microsoft team actually helped us put together last year with some work that we did for Denso. I do want to talk about a couple of additional use cases, and kind of overall, how are some of these organizations utilizing mixed reality to accomplish their specific goals? So starting off with Intel. So I kind of mentioned Intel from a very high level earlier, but I want to talk about it in a little bit more detail. So with Intel, as I mentioned, the Intel team and their processes and procedures that they were looking to train on are, first off, very complex. Second off, they're very closely protected. It's intellectual property. It's stuff that they don't typically work with outside vendors on. So we actually worked with the Intel team to build out a custom workshop series to get their instructional designers, their engineers up to speed on creating their own content. And with this, we actually delivered a series of these virtual workshops to 4 different Intel locations around the globe. And those locations, they have created upwards of 2,000 guides now. Now, in terms of their specific use case, Intel's a little bit different because their goal within guides is not to actually train their staff on how to do the specific procedures. The focus is a little bit more on ensuring compliance to the specific, policies and procedures. So the idea being, rather than creating a guide that kind of teaches an Intel engineer how to go through a specific process in their clean room or their fab, they've created processes, and you can see from these images on the slide here, we've got Intel engineers in kind of full bunny suits using the HoloLens 2 in this clean room type environment. And they're really using the HoloLens 2 in terms of on-the-job performance improvement. So, number one is decreasing errors, making sure that everything is done by the book, making sure that all policies are followed to the letter. But number two is, it helps them kind of increase productivity because they've got that kind of baseline framework in place. So next I want to talk about Porsche. And Porsche, I think, is a particularly exciting example because they're actually really kind of doing an all-encompassing approach. So I played the video at the beginning, which was Mercedes-Benz North America dealerships talking about how they've brought in the HoloLens 2 to all of their dealerships. And you know what, I'm sorry, I did not play that video at the beginning. This is my my third webinar of the day. So I played that in a different one. But Mercedes-Benz is doing something similar. So both Mercedes-Benz and Porsche are currently supplying HoloLens 2 headsets to all of their North American dealers. So within those dealers, they get a couple of key benefits. For Porsche in particular, the first sort of line of defense is the remote assist side of things. So in the case of a car dealership, if the same car that's recently purchased gets brought back to that dealership 3 times for the same issue, legally that dealer has to actually buy the car back from the customer. So to avoid getting into that scenario, when Porsche reaches these scenarios where they're about to have to buy that car back, rather than going down the normal route, they're escalating those issues to experts within North America, and even potentially the engineers back in Germany that help design the engine and specific components that they're struggling with. So this really gives them the ability to get the right expertise in front of the issue when they need it. The other big piece, because they already have these HoloLens 2 headsets, we kind of came to them and said, hey, let's make sure we're maximizing the benefit of having these headsets at your dealerships. So we've worked with Porsche to build out a series of training courses where we teach dealership technicians about things like component locations, what to look for in the case of an inspection, whether they're inspecting the suspension or an engine component or beyond. And we've really been able to utilize a lot of CAD models, a lot of really unique 3D elements to what we're doing with Porsche.
Nick, sorry, just a quick one before you move on. We've got a question from one of the attendees asking, what is the best practice use case for MR and collaboration meeting in UCC?
Best use case for MR and apologies here. What is UCC?
I believe that they would be mentioning unified communications on there, but we might just need to get them to clarify.
Yeah, no, if we could get some clarification there, that would be great. I think around mixed reality and collaboration in general from a high level, I think the use cases are pretty much endless. I've seen a ton of different, from as I just mentioned before, kind of troubleshooting really specific issues with Porsche, all the way to we work with a variety of different natural gas companies, and there have been a ton of different applications of remote assist within that industry, where we basically have, as just a couple of examples, there's a lot of really complex tools that they work with within the natural gas industry. And these are tools that they don't potentially have to work with every day. So let's say you have a specific scenario arise, you've got the need to use a tool, you haven't used it in over 2 years. Gives you the ability to really quickly and easily call out to your supervisor. They can walk you through how that tool kind of functions. And then you can quickly solve that issue. So it saves the supervisor having to leave the office and go out to the location. We're saving, in terms of cost, quite a few different kind of savings that come from that. And I'll keep an eye if we get any more detail in the question here. I'm happy to respond to that. Okay, so this next example is actually kind of a really interesting one, because with HealthStream, the focus here is actually not on creating training for their own organization, not on kind of upskilling their workforce. Rather, HealthStream is an organization that actually creates and sells trainings for doctors and nurses. So we've partnered closely with them to develop a series of courses that are designed for actually kind of sale to the public. So they are, in the process of building this out and really kind of expanding the offerings here. But in this scenario, we've created a guide that, rather than kind of going step by step teaching a user how to do something, it's them actually having to respond to a specific scenario. And in the case of HealthStream, or at least our initial proof of concept here, it's how does a physician respond in the case of a hemorrhage situation? And in that scenario, it kind of walks them through what are the key things that they need to do. It makes them actually kind of make the decisions and make the correct decisions. So that kind of scenario-based or simulation-based training is another area that we're seeing some really great results from. And then just really quickly, my last one. So I mentioned that we've been working with a variety of natural gas companies, and I think our overall sort of model within the natural gas industry has been a very strategic model in that these are organizations that don't actually compete against each other. So we've been able to kind of standardize some of the curriculum that we've been building out with some various customizations. But overall, these are organizations that have the same basic needs. And so that gives them, ultimately a lot more flexibility, a lot more power to create a large variety or a large library of different guides. Okay, perfect. So that actually wraps it up for my portion of things. Happy to respond to any additional questions. Okay, yeah, so I see unified communication and collaboration. Yeah, so I'm not exactly sure how specifically mixed reality fits into that specific approach, and maybe you'll have to forgive me because I'm not familiar with that acronym prior to today. So Luke, I'm not sure if you have any other insight on that you can add.
Sure, happy to take that offline, and we can get some further context around that and provide some further information, not a problem.
Okay, excellent. All right, so I will then pass things over to Tetsu.
Okay, great. Thank you, Nick. Great presentations. Let me just see if I have control of the file here. Okay, it seems, okay, there we are. Okay. Hi there, everyone. Thank you very much for taking the time to attend this call. Really appreciate it. Hopefully the contents up to here has been really helpful for you. So in my part, I will quickly take you through our mixed reality partner program, as obviously partners such as Crane Morley play a real large part within our ecosystem in driving mixed reality solutions to the commercial market. So a little bit time lag here. Okay, oops, went on to the next one. Okay, sorry. Okay, just kind of give you a sneak preview on the following slides here. So what we have here is the overall mixed reality solution portfolio, which is provided not only from Microsoft, but its great ecosystem of partners. As you can see here in the middle part, we have the hardware, but as you can hear, as you have kind of been able to notice from where Nick was presenting during his part, is that what actually drives the real value of mixed reality is the left-hand part, where we see the mixed reality applications and services. And these components are created from our first-party solutions under the Dynamics 365 brand, such as remote assistant guides, but also our mixed reality partners, their solutions, and also the services that were kind of covered during Nick's part. And the platform that drives this partner ecosystem actually is this mixed reality partner program. The mixed reality partner program, this has been in inception since 2016 when we released the HoloLens 1. And currently, as noted here, we have 250 plus ISVs and system integrators that drive the enablement and creation of mixed reality solutions to lots of industries. And within those 250 plus partners, we have this small part of the top echelon of partners, which Crane Morley is also included in, as gold partners. And to just kind of give you a brief overview on what this mixed reality partner program is, as noted here, the mission is to enable our solution partners, system integrators, and digital agencies to build and deploy breakthrough industry solutions through the power of mixed reality. And our goals are, within this mixed reality program, is to nurture and to enable our partners to be the best with providing up-to-date information, whether it's technical related, product related, or whether it's business related. And also, when we think about this mixed reality partner community, I think there's partners that are strong on one point on A, there's partners strong with B. So it's having this kind of like mixture and synergy between these partners as well. So we foster an environment where partners work with each other as well to drive the best total solution to our customers. And also we leverage, as HoloLens is mixed reality, is a endpoint to the total solution. Utilizing the power of Azure is also one of our components of the mixed reality partner program and mixed reality solutions as well. So with that said, the mixed reality partner program currently, this will be my last slide here. Let's see if I can move on. Let's see here. Okay, yep. So, oops, sorry about this. So used to Teams having a little bit challenge in utilizing other tools, but just want to note here briefly. Currently, the Mixed Reality Partner Program is created based on 3 tiers. Gold partners such as Crane Morley, and then we have a following tier, silver tier, and then we have member tier. And this is an overall view of what the benefits are. I'm not going to go through them one by one, but just wanted to mention there's so-called community benefits in regard. So this would kind of be like, getting the relative information, having the interaction, not only with Microsoft, but with the partners that are within that community. Also marketing benefits, how we can amplify and support your sales and marketing activities and sales activities as well, where ourselves will be supporting you guys in driving mixed reality solution sales, and also overall the technical engineering benefits. So I think we'll be passing on this deck, so you'll be able to take a more careful deep look through this document, but just wanted to kind of provide you that we do base this program on tiers, and it's contribution based, but it's, I think even if you're a member, even if you are in a member tier, there's lots of benefits that you will be able to gain. So hopefully this will be enticing for you to kind of step into the mixed reality world and utilize as a platform as well. So following slides are just kind of the criteria to become a gold, silver member tier. So if you can just kind of, after this session, if you can take a careful look, that'll be great. So with this said, I just wanted to kind of close off by mentioning that partners are really a super essential part of the mixed reality, driving of mixed reality solutions. And Luke will be following up with what we are actually driving to the Australia, New Zealand market in regards to mixed reality biz applications. So with that said, let me pass it on to you, Luke, while I kind of move over the slides.
And Luke, if you don't mind,
thanks. That's it. Sorry, go for it.
If you don't mind, just really quick, and let me go back on video here. I just did a quick bit of research and just wanted to clarify. So really with remote assist, Teams is kind of the underlying UCC, right? So the remote assist application, I didn't do a good job explaining this, runs completely off of the Teams infrastructure. So it's really that simple and straightforward as far as how you would kind of plug that into your overall approach.
Thank you,
Awesome.
Nick.
Thanks, Nick. Thank you, Tetsu, as well. So I guess you've heard from both Tetsu and Nick just in regards to some of the technology itself, some of Azure, the dynamics and the likes as well. And really what I wanted to finish off with today is one around what we're calling, or what Microsoft has as, the distribution managed partners. And that will be partners such as yourselves that we can now start to help to start your journey really into mixed reality and how you can actually get involved in this. And then also an exciting new piece of business that we've created as extended reality as a service as well. So what I'll do, I'll start off with distribution managed partners. And as you heard, Tetsu is running through the MRPP partners. And we usually find that MRPPs are more based around ISVs or SIs that are creating their own software or unique value add, as in the service or software itself overlaying onto the HoloLens. Where the distribution managed partner fits is more for solution providers, again, like SIs and our partner base within Ingram, that are looking to take the HoloLens units with the related applications out to market. As you heard from Nick in regards to Dynamics 365 guides and remote assist, this managed partner program will give you the ability as a partner to start your journey and start to become authorized to be able to sell these units. What I've done here is just put a little bit of a detailing around some of the previous requirements that Microsoft had, and some of the updated requirements around the devices and the program itself, to give you an understanding of what has now changed and what this means for you as a partner, that you're interested in this type of technology and that you're saying, hey, we want to get started. What are the next steps and how do we start our journey into this technology? So as you can see here, HoloLens unit, while they are a great unit, what we need to ensure is when a partner is looking to take these forward to market, that they must be sold with a mixed reality application. Now, as standard, we take Dynamics guides and remote assist forward for quite a few of the opportunities. Now, there are third parties out there that do provide additional applications on top of that, and services as well. And this is still a current requirement. And the reason why this has been really put forward is to ensure that the end customer has a good experience within this type of technology. And on the future slides, I'll run through a bit of a further deep dive into that and what we've seen today. In terms of the evaluation process, so previously Microsoft had an evaluation completely from their side around the DMPs and what particular partner would get approved and how that would move forward. There have been some new updates now around that. So Ingram Micro, as the distributor, we are able to help to support yourselves moving forward into this process. And that also then builds into the recruitment process. Previously, there wasn't a particular subset or process around that. Now there is a standardized intake form and scorecard that can be completed for an expression of interest. And I've got those links and those details included at the end of the deck as well. But effectively, this will mean that as a partner, that you now have a standardized approach to be able to say, I'm interested in this type of technology. I want to be able to start to take this to my clients. What do I need to be able to do to get there? And so that will be the intake form and also the scorecard to be able to start that journey and that process to get all of the information so we can take that back to Microsoft and work jointly together to see if that fits for their business, for your business, and ultimately getting you authorized to be able to take this to market. Again, more of the partner onboarding and enablement was previously done by Microsoft. As we continue forward with this as well, Ingram Micro, as the disti, will be helping as much as possible around that training enablement of the devices so that you can ensure that your teams are adequately trained around this, that you've got the best opportunity to be able to take this forward to your own customers, to be able to show them the value, what it means to be able to leverage this type of technology and really gain that return on investment around that as well. One of the requirements will be to have an active MPN ID. A lot of our partners do today. If you're purchasing majority of Microsoft products, that you will already have an NPN ID. If you already have that, that will also help to streamline some of the processes as well. In terms of the program, once we go through the intake forms, the scorecards, we work back and forth with Microsoft around that and see that everybody is in agreement around the next steps forward, that would be requiring signatures from the partner, and it's just something to note as well so that we've got that all completed. In terms of the process timeline as well, we've been able to put some certain criteria or SLAs around this, that we're still still working towards, but jointly with Ingram and Microsoft as well, that we're looking at a 4 to 8 week turnaround time. That is from start to finish to get you recruited and to start that journey into the HoloLens and to be an authorized partner as well. And then finally around this, the previous requirements to become a DMP were to be able to purchase or have a minimum commitment of 300 units per annual calendar year. And we've now had an update around that. So the minimum number is 10. That allows you as a partner, again, to have a lower number and a lower barrier of entry to begin and to be able to start leveraging this type of technology in the market. Just to kind of move on from a bit of the updates around the DMP program itself, we still see partner challenges and end customer challenges, and a few that I really wanted to point out here. That, as you might be aware, and looking at some of those figures that I previously provided on the last slide, that in terms of authorized partners here in Australia, we roughly have 8 authorized DMPs today that are able to take this technology out to market to end customers. And so that has been one challenge in getting more of this technology out to market. Really what we're then seeing is from an end customer challenge is really, one, the awareness of the technology. And once they see the technology, they may have a bit of an understanding or an interest in it, but it's really around ensuring that, and the way that these programs have been built is ensuring that the end customer has been put first and that their customer experience is absolutely the best that they can possibly get. What we're usually finding is that the end customers have an interest in this type of technology. They'll come to the partner, they'll say, hey, we want to purchase 1 unit. But usually the questions that will come back that we need to get a further understanding of is, what are they wanting to leverage it for? Do they have a particular use case? Is there a return on investment that they're trying to achieve? Have they spoken to their IT teams to be able to integrate this into their systems and likes? And usually what we find is that they like to see the technology, but they haven't gone through that experience internally within their own businesses to be able to ensure that they can actually leverage the technology, 1, in the right way, 2, to have a particular business requirement or a use case around that to ensure that they're leveraging it to see a return on investment. Everything that Nick was speaking about had very particular use cases that the end customer was trying to achieve. And from that business outcome or that relevancy of what they were wanting to complete, there was a package that could be put together and the technology could be leveraged for that. But what we're finding is that today with some of the end customers, they're not quite aware of what that looks like. And this is one of the reasons why the DMP authorization is there, to ensure that the partners can also speak with the end customer to ensure that they have that best experience. And then finally, into the end customer procurement challenges. As I mentioned just a little bit earlier around end customers and how they're wanting to purchase this, what we've seen today is that that particular business unit or line of business is saying, yep, we're ready to go ahead. But then the approvals to be able to get that done by IT team, security system, teams, or anything like that may take 6 to 12 months down the line to say, we've approved it, we can now leverage this in the business. And that has been some of the challenges that the end customers have been facing when looking at procuring the technology. And from all of these challenges, from both a partner aspect and an end customer challenge, we've been able to build out what we're taking to market called extended reality as a service. And what we've built is 3 different modules for you as a partner to be able to get started on your journey around mixed reality. Now, this does not require an authorization or a DMP status from Microsoft in order to be able to take this forward. This, again, will allow you as a partner from today to be able to take mixed reality and extended reality forward as a service to your end customers. And again, be able to get started, to not have that huge commitment, to be able to move forward and see how this can be leveraged. Effectively, what we've done here is we've taken the HoloLens mixed reality unit. We've bundled in a mixture of, and depending on the particular module, but for example, we've got the 4-week trial. What we've done with the 4-week trial is we have put together the HoloLens unit, the related software that is the requirement, but also put training services and attachments around that to ensure that for a 4-week time frame, that the end customer doesn't just get the unit, but also training and enablement from our teams to be able to help them to identify what that use case looks like in their business, and then to be able to train their teams up on a basic use case, and ultimately to get to that point within 4 weeks so that they can test that use case and see a return on investment. So that is the 4-week trial. That is one of the modules that we're providing now out to market again as a service that has a single cost for the 4-week trial. We've also got a getting started guide. So we've seen more and more end customers coming up to say, we've got an interest in it, we've done a 4-week trial, but now we need more help and support to be able to get our business ready to be able to leverage the HoloLens unit, remote assist, or guides. And so again, creating another package to assist the end customers to be able to get their infrastructure, their business ready, so that when they purchase or when they take forward the extended reality leasing, that these units will just flow into their ecosystem and not have a huge amount of back-end infrastructure issues or issues that they can't be able to rectify. And then finally, once they've taken that journey to say our system, our infrastructure, our business is ready to take these units forward, we then have the extended reality leasing. And what that is a leasing structure that includes the provisioning of the units, insurance of the devices themselves, the HoloLens unit, and support around that as well. And so this ensures that the end customers, one, if they're having those procurement challenges and not being able to purchase them, or having issues with their security teams or IT teams, that they can leverage these as a service model and effectively be able to leverage their budget in a quick and easy manner while still being able to leverage the units. Now, again, just to kind of mention, as I have, this is available to partners now. Again, you will not require an authorization from Microsoft to be able to start this process around the service aspect. This is something that we've been able to work jointly with Microsoft and our partners to be able to take forward and effectively create that in an easy mechanism to ensure that the customer experience is there. If you are looking to take forward the HoloLens units to be able to sell to your end customers, that you will need to complete the DMP process. And that again is something that we can work with you on to start that process and that journey. As you may have seen on the EDM, as the promotion for this webinar, we are actually giving away 2 extended reality as a service 4-week trials. And again, I did mention a few of those end customer incentives that they will be able to gain from this. But as you can see here, as I've mentioned, we'll be able to run through a business case with them, run through a 4-week trial, get their teams actually skilled up and trained in this technology. And so to be able, in order to be able to go into the running for this, and the submission does close on the 20th of December, we have created a submission form with effectively just some questions around yourselves, the end customer, their industry, what is the use case that they're looking at leveraging this type of technology for. And once that is all completed, that will be sent in to us, and then before the end of this year, we will come back to everybody with the winners for this, and we'll look to start that process and actually get this out to the end customers in early new year when they've got the timeframes to be able to do so and their team ready and on board for that. So that is the extended reality submission form. We also have created a standardized form for that expression of interest to become a DMP as well. And again, we'll send all of this information out. This effectively means that you can click on the link, put in your details, and then that'll fill all of the information in for us so that we can get started to see if the right fit is there, if your business and if the Microsoft are looking to move forward with you becoming a DMP. And then finally, just our email on the bottom here, that if you are interested in the extended reality as a service, feel free to pop an email to the email on the screen, and we can send some further information across in terms of the breakdown of that. We've got a whole lot of information around how this is created, the requirements, the benefits, the business case that can be provided, and the likes. So really, that's what we wanted to touch on today. I'm just having a look. Please feel free to pop through any questions that you may have, but we really appreciate your time. Again, we hope this has been really useful for you to get an understanding of, one, mixed reality, how to start to build your business and a practice around that. And then also now being able to move forward and being able to take this as next steps in your business and say, we're ready for mixed reality. We want to take this forward. You've now got a clear, concise way of how to move forward with this type of technology and how we can support your business in being able to take this forward. So I'll just wait for a minute or two to see if any questions come through. Otherwise, really thank everybody for their time. We'll also send a follow-up email out in the next day or two at the latest with all of the slides, the links, and all of the information as well, so that you can start that process around submitting any of these forms, going in the draw for a chance to win that extended reality 4-week trial as well. I haven't seen any questions pop through, so thank you very much everybody for your time. I hope you have a great festive season and a break, and hope to all speak to you in the new year as well, if not beforehand. Thank you very much.